the deepest shadows, some stories are never meant to be told. They are whispers buried beneath blood, lies, and the relentless passage of time. Here we open the ledger, its pages inked in darkness, mystery, and a terrifying truth. Welcome to the dark ledger, where the past never, ever stays silent. Germany, 1922. Imagine a lonely, isolated farmstead named Hinterkaifeck, a place that would soon become the stage for one of history's most chilling and perplexing unsolved crimes. A family of 6 living their quiet rural life, completely unaware that a phantom was already living among them and that their final days were ticking down. The story begins not with a scream, but with a series of unsettling whispers. In the days leading up to the tragedy, the farmer, Andreas Gruber, confided in his neighbors. He spoke of strange, unexplainable events. He heard footsteps in the attic, the heavy, deliberate tread of someone who shouldn't be there. He found a strange newspaper in his home, one he had never purchased, originating from a city miles away. A set of house keys vanished without a trace. The family felt a constant, unnerving presence. They felt watched. A deep, primal fear began to settle over the farm like a thick morning fog. The maid, Maria Baumgartner, was so terrified by the ghostly sounds and the oppressive atmosphere that she packed her bags and fled just hours before her replacement arrived. She claimed the house was haunted. She had no idea how right she was or what horrors she had narrowly escaped. Then came the cold, fateful night of March 31st. A storm was brewing, both outside and within the walls of Hinterkaifeck. It's believed the killer was already on the property, perhaps hiding in the very attic where the footsteps had been heard. Under the cover of darkness, the methodical, brutal plan was set into motion. The killer, armed with a mattock, a heavy farming tool, lured the family members into the barn, one by one. First, the 7-year-old Cecilia, then her grandmother, also named Cecilia, then her parents, Andreas and Victoria Gruber. Each was struck down with savage, overwhelming force. There were no signs of a struggle. No one screamed, no one ran. It was a silent, calculated slaughter, but the nightmare wasn't over. The killer then moved from the barn to the main house. Inside, sleeping peacefully, were the maid Maria Baumgartner, who had just arrived that day, and Victoria's 2-year-old son, Joseph. They met the same horrific fate in their own beds. 6 bodies now lay cold on the isolated farmstead. The silence that followed was absolute and terrifying. Here's where the case takes a turn from merely horrifying to utterly bizarre. The murderer didn't flee. Instead, they stayed. For days, this unknown individual lived in the house, surrounded by the victims of their own terrible violence. They tended to the livestock, feeding the cows and chickens as if it were their own farm. They ate food from the kitchen, slept in one of the beds, and kept the fire going in the hearth for warmth. The farmer's dog was found tied up, unharmed. Neighbors saw smoke rising from the chimney and assumed the family was home. For several days, life on the farm carried on, with a ghost in the machine. A killer sleeping under the same roof as the 6 people they had just murdered. The sheer audacity, the chilling calm of it, is almost impossible to comprehend. It wasn't until April 4th, when young Cecilia hadn't shown up for school for several days, that suspicion finally arose. A search party was formed. They entered the property and made the gruesome discovery in the barn. The scene they stumbled upon was one of unimaginable carnage. The community was plunged into a state of shock and terror. Who could have done this, and why? The investigation began immediately, but it was a chaotic mess from the start. Over 100 suspects were questioned over the years, but the trail was cold, and the evidence was mishandled. Theories swirled like autumn leaves in a storm. Was it Victoria's rumored lover, Lorenz Schlittenbauer, who had long disputed the paternity of little Joseph? He behaved suspiciously after the murders, and some claim he practically confessed on his deathbed, but nothing was ever proven. Was it a drifter, soldier suffering from the trauma of the Great War, or a robber who found the family had less money than expected? Or was it something closer to home? Even Victoria's deceased husband, Carl Gabriel, who was reportedly killed in the war, was considered a suspect. What if he hadn't died? What if he had returned to find his wife with another man's child? One of the most chilling theories is that the killer was a complete stranger, a phantom who simply wandered onto the farm, lived in secret in the attic, and then, for reasons we will never know, decided to annihilate the entire family. Every lead turned into a dead end. Every theory crumbled under scrutiny. The case files grew thicker, but the truth remained buried. In 2007, a German police academy took one last crack at the cold case, using modern investigative techniques. Their conclusion? The crime is still unsolvable due to the passage of time and the poor quality of the original investigation. They did, however, identify a prime suspect, but chose not to name him out of respect for his living relatives. The secret of Hinterkaifeck was to remain a secret. Today, the farm is long gone. It was demolished a year after the murders, as if to erase the stain of the tragedy from the landscape. But you can't erase a memory. A monument now stands where the farm once was, a silent tribute to the Gruber family and their maid. But the land, they say, remembers. Locals have long whispered of strange lights and eerie sounds coming from the spot where the house stood. The story of Hinterkaifeck has become more than just a crime. It's a ghost story, a modern folktale whispered around campfires. The footsteps in the attic, the phantom who lived among the dead, they have never really gone away. They echo through a century of silence, a haunting reminder that some questions will never have an answer, and some doors once opened can never be closed again. The killer of Hinterkaifeck may have slept in that house for only a few nights, but his ghost has haunted Germany and the world for 100 years. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of history's darkest chapters. What do you think happened at Hinterkaifeck? Let us know your theories in the comments below. If you found this case as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe to The Dark Ledger for more mysteries that the past refuses to forget. Until next time, stay curious and be careful of the sounds you hear in the attic.